Hi everyone, it's Jen for Mind's Eye. We're going to go ahead and do the holistic review. It's been a few weeks, probably it feels like around like 1 or 2 months that we've really done this. But basically, all you need to know is that it really came down to a contractual matter. And when it comes down to a contractual matter, what can actually be done? And it really is like adherence to the laws and the system, which is like a repeat and a repeat. And then you have to sit there and you're like, are you sure you know what you're talking about? It really is hard. It really is hard to pair with like big, medical and like sit and stand out that you are adherent to DPH and CDC and FDA, and then still hold firm that medical marijuana is okay. But then we have all these issues. So let's actually really take a look at it and let's, catch up a little bit on what has actually come through for this community about like Reiki and cranial psychotherapy and like doing everything that it really needs a breakthrough due to insurance claims and due to like other incidences evolving and revolving, that there's got to be something about going a little bit more natural is like best and might be the first line of defense. So let's actually look. So, right off the bat, it goes, you know, seven of pentacles in reverse. There's something that they say it's no skill. So, as I know as a visiting nurse, when they say there's no skill, when it comes to insurance and anyone's had home care, it basically means like, what is this nurse doing in the home or PTOT speech, anything of that nature? Like, what are they doing that actually they can say is work in the home for them? And shows the impedance of the patient to the family. And when you see this and you see the Father of Cups, there's like no alignment or attunement to actually saying that sitting with someone and just listening is actually a skill that actually can. That is where, they're winning at like wellness centers and like holistic centers to apothecaries, because that is the Ace of Wands. That is where they're sitting, because they're sitting and they're listening, and their Reiki practitioners are like, I'm giving time to them and they're getting it out. So unfulfilled wishes still, absolutely, because everything was like going the way that it should. And then all of a sudden, like nothing was clear, nothing was sound, nothing was secure. And when I look at this and I see the Emperor card, it really has to do with something like stand firm and stoic. So as we go forward for like the week, what are the biggest problems still in mainstream? As I see the Son of Cups in reverse, it's like going forward with something simple about water, about dehydration. There's something about that. What this holistic community can do is encouraging about hydration, whatever it means and whatever resonates. So when I see the Six of Pentacles, it is an equal give and take that actually sits well. And you go, are you kidding me? Like, is it that simple? Like sitting well. You can't even like go forward or go backward or go sideways. It has to do with water. So, Elon Musk has this huge incident in the whole way of the car crash and deals off the table, the mineral deal, and whatever else has transpired, because they had talked about it that we're going to need probably a verdict a little bit more mineral, and a little bit more of like cotton based clothes, because something was wrong. Now, when I see this and I see the Daughter of Pentacles in reverse, there's something of a steal taken away. And when I see that, you have to literally sit and use like your intuition. You have to use everything about yourself as you're just going about and resting also, to understand it's so simple just to listen and actually do it well. So you have to say, maybe I actually do have to test my well water. Now, we've all talked about it, how fluoride is not always best in large amounts. and that it was like still this trend of fluoride free. And then looking at like test everything about it and then saying, well, when I go to the dentist, they put fluoride on my teeth. I mean, that's fine like once or twice a year, especially for kids. It's okay once or twice a year. But basically, all you need to know is that usually kids don't need mineral water. They need spring water. Once they hit teenager, they need minerals because they're growing. And then it cuts to like alkaline water, which is where everyone was going to, down to the Shilajit, which is absolutely fine. Don't do more than twice a day for like 1 or 2 weeks if you get to that point. And zeolite. It really was clearing and cleansing and tea and everything about this. It really is like it came like back too hard and too far. When I see the Father of Swords, it really is about contracts. It really is about self-ownership. It is saying that even in like a prescription diet, that you're allowed to take a multivitamin. You're allowed to take like an extra dose of a like a Zyrtec. It's based on what you need. So those are the things that they don't want to hear in mainstream, but it actually really does happen a lot in the home. People don't just call and say, I need to take a Delsum. I need to do this. Now, if they're unsure, they will call the doctor's office from my experiences. But most of the time, people forego it and they just do exactly what they're feeling. Now, when I see this and I go, it really wasn't a dirty secret in home nursing, but it's something that we remember when someone starts foregoing things, especially on prescriptions. When you say the Mother of Pentacles in reverse, so you got the King of Pentacles upright, and then you have the Mother of Pentacles in reverse. There's something about not sitting well. So when you actually go into the home or even talking to like someone who does have a Reiki business, if they're not sitting well, I actually have to say, like, go sit with this. This actually sits like the Eight of Cups in reverse. Something's not right. Something is not right. You can't see it. So is it water or is it something? There was something like it keeps coming out as like the gap. And it's sitting and like the cutout. And it's sitting of when is it to be? And when I see it and like you're holding like your own and you're like tense, there's something about like a zero in the area. Now it's happened before, especially around like reform schools and like the training schools and the penitentiaries and the state hospitals before they close down. Now, what you need to know about those who lived in those times, they will literally forego their own all the time. They're the ones who don't want to go to the doctor. They're the ones who literally hear it, see it, and feel it all the time. And they probably already locked down the house, already into universal precautions for the winter. So when I see it, it usually is teamwork with them. This is the Three of Pentacles. That's why they're like, no. If you don't like actually make a turn or do anything by probably July, you see this and you go, it has to do with a form of law enforcement in the community, like a community watch. So just watch how everyone's already behaving. Are they like back to school and they're getting like Benadryl, they're getting OTCs, they're getting their physicals, and they want to see exactly how they come out of like COVID and pneumonia. Here we go. What else do we need to know? How does this like fit in with these businesses that want to bloom? So with them, they'd say canning. Do canning. You have to throw a butterfly this thing a bee. So when you say it and you go to Muhammad Ali, you literally can't rhyme. They're like, don't even rhyme. Don't even rhyme because it's already there. This is like the generation in the era that had a lot of issues with cocaine in the area. They're the issues that all of a sudden that, that had cocaine where they had to be reformed, and you had Jimmy Hoffa about 50 years ago that have issues with tea and rebar. So when you see it, you have like sharp endings, especially when loved ones pass away, because they're all like togetherness. So that is one of the things. They're usually pretty balanced, aligned, and attuned, and their gait, which is their walking, does pretty good. But you can't steal. Like, you have any type of theft or thought of theft, down to petty, down to like steel, stainless steel, or anything like that, they go haywire. They go absolutely haywire to the where they're going to test you and then do a little bit of trickery in the community, and they'll make sure nothing is seen and nothing is heard. Is it illegal? No, because of like DDS and everything of that, you can't actually see what's coming. So those individuals can literally manipulate the system, and it's not derogatory, and it's not slander or defamation, and it's actually experience working in group home, is that it will change your perspective to where even your eyesight, the way it looks, because they can throw energy also. When you see it and you go, I swear everything was fine an hour ago, and like 3 hours into your shift at the group home, you're like, everyone's sick in here. Everyone is sick. So when I look at it and I say the 2 wands in reverse, you can't foresee it coming. They're so quick, so quick. So some of these guys actually still watch over, especially if they've had like state and federal rulings and sentencing about like everything. This, when you see this Tower card, it really is like a knowing of the type of chaos to like, you can get a college degree about chaos just by living in the community, on how it disrupts your mindset to the daybreak. So you wake up and you say, I'm going to do this today. And then all of a sudden you go, you can't believe the card that comes out, the 7 of Wands, struggle, absolute struggle for the day. It really is something. So it, like, you say, what needs to be known? And then I hear NOAN, basically colors. They're seeing colors. So that is, what they would call the 3D matrix. So they're seeing oddities. It's the matrix. So that was the issue also in the community when, you talk about the 90s of Tupac and Biggie. And you say they were seeing colors and they're throwing it down and they had to regulate. It really went down to bowel regimes with them on how bad the ends were. So when I look at this deck, don't even get it started. Most of the time you're going to be on a stay put order if you're seeing something funky. Now, it has to do with this. This 2 of Pentacles has to do with money balance. And when you see money balance, when you're looking at our individuals in the community and the group homes, even down to like something in our area where we have for behavioral health management, it has to do with like stay in place orders, stay put orders. It has to do with universal precautions. It usually doesn't. They don't like the terms usually with that. They like universal precautions and like making the area safe. So when you look at money and monetary balance to the way that it's a low, it comes in quick like wind. So that's what they want us to know. So anyone who is in like working in holistic, if it's coming like wind, I'd have to say you'd have a harsh winter. They're already listening to the storms to where you don't have the best of judgment in like the month of January. They're very attuned, these guys, to weather patterns, to anything of that type of energy, to help alleviate loss. So just watch everyone, everything, and the animals. I can't make it up at all. It's not something that we want to remember, but all you hear is it's happening again, and they can't get it out. So just be patient. Be patient. It is a little bit recklessness, but you just have to do it. there's like a tendency of like greed. So one of the questions on the table was about how people make their living, and it has to do with pricing. So it can come both ways when it comes to pricing, when it comes to psychic and mediumship and clearing, cleansing, and Reiki and massage, but there's upkeep. So realistic expectations, you do have to, it's saying you do have to keep up appearances. You have to keep up an income. And then you say, this is like it's happened before on a window. But where is this like tanking in the economy? Where's this storm? Where's this EBS? There's something about the subconscious in the back of the head that people talk about with holistic. So those who actually do readings like that, when they sit that long, they're actually trying to do a hard draw out. So it's a form of love that actually comes through and sitting in positive energy on the subconscious. So it does look like, for a lack of a better term, something that they're not supposed to be doing. Usually that card is like grotesque humor, but there's something rooted. And they literally go, I don't really like that term, and that means I'm not going to work with you. And so basically, and that's how it draws out, and that's how a lot of like these business partnerships, these co-ops, end up breaking up of like a conflict of interest to a perspective change. So you sometimes have to say it as what is seen and heard, even as a psychic. Historically, it's happened before. It is literally harsh at times, but you have to actually say it as it is. When I see this, it is something about like a growth, something about a growth. When you do like subconscious reading, sitting where it's not, it's something of like a transition of reality that some people have a hard time getting out of, especially after trauma. All of a sudden, like you look and there's like a book, and it's like a revelation. That is where everything is going towards just in this week. I would have to say, at least in the United States, it would be probably harder. Like it's really hard to actually show bigger healthcare. Like it takes us a long time, but it's worth the money. It's worth it. So how would insurance actually bill that? Because it's usually not recommended. It usually like counteracts everything. And they're like, is this greed? Is this something that is not supposed to be doing? One more out of this deck. What else do we need to know? Intellect. There's something that both are saying when you're sitting with all of them, no matter, even if you're going into a apothecary to like a homeopathic doctor, it has to do with like keeping everything intact about that person, of their intellect. All right, let's look at the runes. Poplar wood. Water season has to do with zodiac. It has to do with the type of season that we're in, that it flows a little bit harder in the summer, to the point of like no moss on a rolling stone, to a type of trolling, to where it's almost too solid. So you're really not going to get through it. It is not planned or pre-planned, but basically it is like a huge choice on a turn of luck. So when you look at it as holistic and you're looking at the way the earth is balancing, that it has its own turn of luck, a wheel of luck right in the center of the earth. And the way that it all plays out will literally bring whatever we need in to whatever needs to be revealed. That is where it really comes in. When you see this rune Hera, it is like going and like collecting bills. It is going and like getting payments. It is like legal, judicial. It is probate. It is anything or setting up a business or a contract. That's all it wants you to know. So, with that being said, any questions or concerns, leave a like, a comment, a share, an email. It's greatly appreciated, and we will talk to you soon.